So now that we've gone over warm-ups and stretching, we're going to work more on the strength component of kicking height. Today we're going to do a general routine that goes over most kicking motions. And the kicks that we don't go over specifically, generally we'll use the same muscles that we are training with these exercises we're doing today. Also, if you want to mix and match concepts to different positions, feel free to do so. So we're going to start in the front kick position, and the muscles we target with these exercises will go into your front kicks, your axe kicks, and even your crescent kicks. You can use a chair, your punching bag. I'm going to use a wall just because that's something that is more accessible to everyone. And for me with front kicks, instead of reaching like this, because this primes my body to be more sideways, I like to reach under here so I can be in a more forward-facing position with my hips. The bottom foot, I would either have it pointing straight at your target, or if it's slightly out to the side, this is okay too. So the first one we're going to do is a 3-second lockout. From our front kick chamber, I'm going to extend as high as I can with my leg straight. If your leg starts to bend, you might be trying a little bit too high. Just go as high as you can hold it, and if it's not that high, that's fine. For the most part, try to make sure your hips are facing forward. You don't want to turn out too much. And also we want to put the focus on the kicking leg. So if your support leg starts bending a lot or starts to change the structure of your kick, try to be mindful of that and make your adjustments. So while we're doing this, we want to keep our hand, it doesn't have to be in a fighting stance really, but you can if you like, or you can just keep it close to your body. Just be composed. You can choose whatever ankle position you want. I'll be doing ankle down, toes up just for today, but okay, let's do it. Oh, that's rough. Okay, next we're going side to side from the full extension. Make sure that your kicking leg is the one moving here at the hip joint. We don't want to swing with the bottom hip here. As much as we can, we want to keep this locked in place and just move down, back as one. We're gonna go to 10, let's go. Next is very similar, but we're going to add a bounce to it. So we're going to do wipers. With a bounce, we're kind of creating this arch with our foot. 2 bounces count as 1 rep. We're going to do 10. Let's go. Next we have figure 8, so it's really like figure infinity sign. We're going to go side to side in drawing. On the downward portions, try not to go too low because then we start swinging our leg up and using momentum instead of engaging the muscle. If you have a partner, you can have them hold both fists out and just try to stay as close to their hands as you can. Or if you're doing this in a class, you can have your partner hold 2 kicking paddles out and they can draw their figure 8 while staying as close to the pad as they can. All right, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, Okay, we're going to go ahead and do bounces, which are very short motions. And we want to keep this pretty tight. We don't want to swing too high and low because then we're using momentum. Because these are such small motions, we generally will do this in a higher rep range. So we'll be doing 20 on each leg. All right, let's go. So for this next one, we don't actually need the wall. We're going to step away from it and have our leg in front. We're going to do a straight leg swing. We're going to have some room for momentum, but we're going to limit it by starting with that leg in front rather than all the way back here and having room to swing. It's going to be mostly a lift. If you want a little bit more of a challenge, you can just have something to elevate your foot so we have even less space to generate momentum and try doing it from there. A little upper body movement is fine, but try not to hunch over too much. Try to keep a straight back. So next we're going to go into the side kick position, and doing the exercises in this position also benefit roundhouse kicks and hook kicks. So there's a lot of crossover there, but we'll still do some motions that are specific to roundhouse and hook kicks later. So we do have some options here in terms of leaning. If you don't lean at all and keep your hips pretty much upright the whole time, you'll notice that your kick height is very unflattering, but it does let you focus on strictly the compression of the kicking leg. But when we do lean, it makes the kick seem a lot higher. When we lean down like that, we're actually elongating the muscles in our support leg a lot more. So whether you wanted to do it with a lean or without a lean, it's up to you. So for now, don't be too fixated on how high the kick is. We want to focus on the muscles that are involved in creating this position. Somewhere in the middle is fine. Make sure you're not leaning over too much that you're smushing your face on the wall. So wherever you're targeting, I'll be targeting this general direction. I want my bottom foot turned and my heel pointing to where my target is. So I'll be calling this a full pivot position. We don't want to be halfway like this. We want to be fully turned, okay, like this, but we don't want our hips to be down. Make sure that your hip bone here and your hip bone here are sideways. So I have my full pivot on the bottom foot, my hips sideways or hips stacked on top of each other. And I like to have a slight internal rotation on this kicking leg. We are going to do a lock and triple bounce. For 1 rep, we'll be doing 10 on each side. Here we go. Next, we're gonna do circles. We're gonna do 10 one way or 10 another way. If you're doing this in a class and you have a partner, have the partner hold either their fists or 2 kicking pads out and tell the student who's kicking to just circle around the top target without touching the bottom one. This makes sure that we're not using momentum and we're actually engaging the muscle. And if you really want to challenge, start by finding your max height that you can hold the kick and make that point the center of the circle that you're going to draw. So all of these same drills can be applied to the roundhouse kick position, but just for variability, let's move on to a different exercise. So still in the fully pivoted position, the main difference is that I'm going to practice extending my leg with this knee drawn back, and that might mean that you have to consciously also think about pushing your hip forward, but we want our head, shoulder, hip, and knee to fall in the same line. So by same line, I mean that if you have a bend here at the hip, this is mostly where we see an issue. We need to push this forward, pull this back. Be careful not to overdo it. I see a lot of people, when they really try to push this hip forward, they actually push their stomach forward and arch their back, and that's not the correct posture. So if you feel like you're arching your back, just kind of keep your abs a little bit tense and really focus on just isolating the muscles here in the lower body. So we're just doing snaps and we're going to pyramid them from 1 to 10, back down to 1. We're going to do our number and then place our foot down for a short rest, go to the next number. You don't have to put it down, but I'm just going to do it now for the sake of demonstration. Okay, we start with 1. 1. All right, other side. Here we go. Draw the knee back. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. next we're gonna go to hook kick, and we're going to work on the strength and also the coordination. So it's a bit of a technical drill. There are a few options that we can do when we actually execute the kick, but for the sake of the drill, we're going to do it in the full pivot position. We're going to drill slowly the first part of the hook kick, which is the chamber, or shifting the chamber from this closed position like our side kick to this open position like we just did in our roundhouse kick. If you can pull it a little bit further, then that's good. You might find yourself swiveling on this base leg like so. You can see that my knee and my chest have the same distance, but I'm able to rotate my body. There is a difference between swiveling and actually training the muscles here on this hip to pull this knee back. Swiveling is okay to a certain extent because we also don't want to put too much tension here on the knee, but we're trying to actually train this muscle group on this kicking leg. All right, let's begin. Here behind you. So now we're going to move to the second part of the kick, which is going to be the extension. So this drill is good for timing the extension. We want to extend as we're pulling this knee back. So the further back you pull this knee, the more this leg should be extending out, okay? The more I pull, the further it should be extended. And when I'm aligned with my target, this is when my leg should be straight. And then I'm going to pass and pull. So we're just going to do these in slow motion. 10, begin. Time it, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Nice slow motion. Extend as we draw it back. 4. So next we're going to go to our wall drill, which is going to be a little bit different. And ironically, where I am, there really isn't a wall. So I have this post here. And these aren't walls, these are blinds. So we want to be in our fully pivoted position and place the foot on the wall. And we're going to go up as high as we can. If you feel like you're leaning too much, you might need to come a little bit closer. Okay, but we don't want to be too close that our body is now more over on this. We want to make sure that we're able to lean into the wall or fall into the wall. So if you look at my bottom leg, it is slightly angled towards the wall. If yours is angling a little bit away from the wall, then you need to step a little bit further from the wall. So once you found your max point, you want to drop a little bit because we're going to lift it off the wall without too much momentum, if any. Hips are pushed forward, everything is locked. And we want to lift this leg off the wall without having to fall too much this way and without pushing off the wall with the ball of our foot. If you really want to make sure that that's happening, just make your heel the point of contact on the wall. Also, you want to make sure our shoulders are aligned, so if you're falling away this way, you want to pull that shoulder up, look at your foot. So you can play with the rep range, but for now, we're just going to do 10. All right, here we go, and lift. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right, with the same leg, we're going to go into our stretch. So the target muscle we're trying to stretch for this one is going to be the base leg hamstring. Once again, if you find yourself too close to the wall and you're leaning away, you're not going to be able to do this. Okay, so you're going to climb up as high as you can, and you're going to try to lean into the wall. So visualize your two hip joints here. This bottom one, try to push into the wall. Okay, I'm going to change my hand position to be a little bit lower. So for 1 minute, I'm going to push this hip towards the wall. Sometimes leaning the upper body down can help with that. Ready, and begin. All right, now we're gonna switch sides and do the same thing with our 10 lifts first. All right, let's go. And our 1 minute stretch. Here we go. Time. So for our last drills, we're going to work on external rotation for the twist kick. So we just want to work on the external rotation from our front chamber, just turning like this. But if you have a hard time keeping this knee in place, what we can do is we can place the knee on the wall, and this will kind of help keep it secure. And from here, we're just going to rotate out with a brief pause on each rep. But remember, the rotation doesn't come from the knee. The knee is a hinge joint. It can only open and close. That rotation comes from here in the hip. It's a ball and socket joint, so it can rotate. So if you need the wall, cool. If you don't need the wall, doesn't matter. Let's just do 10. Here we go. 1. More challenging variation is instead of having your hips facing straight, have them sideways. The leg directly in front, we're gonna pull it out to the side laterally, and rotating from here is a lot harder. And lastly, we're going to do our seated external rotations. The lower you go, the more challenging it's going to be. The higher you stand, it's going to be easier. Also, the higher you set your leg, the more challenging it is. If it's too hard, we can always lower it. Okay, so we're going to lean into the wall, cross. We're going to place our hand on our knee to guide it in place, and we're going to try to rotate the foot off of our base leg. Okay, here we go. So that was a lot of drills and a lot of variations. Not all the variations that are out there in the world, but as we go into the Taekwondo at Home series, I'm going to sprinkle them in. All right, until next time.